not Tuesday, it's Friday. This is not Trekland HQ. We're on the road at SoonerCon here in Norman, OK. Great, this is SoonerCon 33, which is amazing. I was on the first con board. I was the first publicity chairman for SoonerCon 1 and helped Mike and Tamara Hodge and Mark Alfred is still around. I actually do know his name. And a few of the original folks are still here, but this has gone through 2 generations and a lapse and a redo, and SoonerCon's huge and growing every year now here in Greater Oklahoma City. And this is something weird. We're doing, see, I have the logo, Trekland Tuesdays Live, but it is Friday. And I thought I would do something crazy different. I'm sure live panels have been live streamed before, but this is going to be episode 405. So I want to welcome everybody back. Thanks everybody for joining. I'm going to jump over here. I don't know if we'll have much in the chat today. It's 4 o'clock, not 1 o'clock, so we probably won't have the Europeans. We'll see who's actually here with us on chat. There we go. Transporter. Oh, so yeah, in the room. So what we're going to do is involve the room here. Yes, you there in the back row. Yes. No, I'm just. Yeah, this is episode 405. Not see, my brain has gone back to no. We're not sitting in the middle of the freeway waiting for apocalypse. What was it? Carpocalypse? I forgot now. What? Carmageddon. It was Carmageddon when they had to tear down the bridge, and the whole world thought it was a failure, but it was a complete reset. Okay. Yes, that's good. 405 is the area code for Central Oklahoma, the original old area code for most of or half of Oklahoma. We're going to be here for a minute. I'm going to involve the crew here. The chat is open. Hi, Chris is here in the room and in the chat. So a little bit of thing. So it's Friday. I know it's not the typical day. I warned everybody on Tuesday we would do this before I took a week off for this trip. And I just want to say, though, if you are one of our Tuesday folk coming over, or even if you're not, if you see this later on YouTube, welcome, welcome. I'll have the chat open here and I'll glance at it and we'll circle back. But this is even more atypical than when we have a guest and we dip in and out of the chat. But I'm glad you're with us. You know, if you're here with us on YouTube or Twitch, you're seeing all the comments. If you're only on Facebook, you're not seeing those. You're only seeing Facebook. And yes, if you're watching this live on YouTube, which I dare say will be most of the audience, between it being a Friday and this day, keep everything going. Sound off in the comments later on. Do all that. And I am signless today. I just want you to know I did not pack all the standard sticky signs, but I do. Do I? I think I do. Yes. I don't have Plushy Leonard with me. I don't have Plushy McCoy. I don't have anything, but I will wish you a trek well at the end, so you know it's official. Okay, everybody. But it is a Friday, and even though it's not a Tuesday, welcome back here to TTL for some sanity, clarity in the big picture or a bigger picture in all things Star Trek. And one of those will be taking a live sample. I told everybody here it's like covering the Iowa caucuses, going to every diner in Iowa before that vote, the way the networks do. So I've got an audience here now. It's Friday. Most cons, we're gaining folks. It's only 4 o'clock. This is where they put this. So this is where we are. And transporter room is here with me in the room. Hi, Joel. I'm looking at everybody. So Joel, where are you exactly in chat land? Oh, and Libby's here in the room too. Ha, you guys, you locals, you double locals. Locals on 2 levels. So I'm just going to do kind of a simple roundabout some of the topics that we've been talking about lately. Here, double dipping. Yes, Joel, where are you, Joel? And I hope this isn't reverberating the room mic and the mic on the laptop. I'm on laptop, not phone today, so I actually have the phone is floating loose. So we're not HD. Sounds good on your earphone? Okay. Good deal. So I'm going to focus here on the room, but we will share everybody in the room here as we get going. So what I wanted to see is, let me do the old con room poll first to start off. And I'm gonna let the room pivot. We have a split room and I have a laptop camera. So it'll be, I don't have a master thing. You're here and there. Thank you, Brian. Minnesota. Okay. Very good. Thanks, guys. Yeah, we're going to miss all the Europeans, I think. Christoph and everybody. Okay. So we're sitting here in 2025. We have gone from peak TV and fresh Trek every week to squeaking by. Half of everything has been canceled or ended on its. You notice the whole new thing about we don't cancel shows now, and people have letter writing campaigns to scream. Well, they do, but now we have streaming. You have to wait a year between seasons, and before the last season, they announced that this is their. They say, "Ooh, look, it's their last year. Let's have a victory lap for them." And you want to say, so what you're saying is they're canceled. No. This is their final season, and we can celebrate it all year long while they're airing. But what you're saying is they're canceled. I love how in the old days, they'd finish the year and everybody waited, the crew, the audience, everybody waited and waited on the bubble, and then they got renewed or they didn't. And if they didn't, people would scream. And in the old days, Star Trek had the letter writing campaign. And in the later days, that one show had the nuts line, and they sent 1 million bags of nuts to, was it Eureka? What was it? That one series. But people still have, protest. The Prodigy people were canceled and did the banner twice. One time it worked, one time it didn't. But now they kiss you goodbye. They give you the kiss of death and celebrate you as they take you out. So now we've got Strange New Worlds, which just got that. They're filming their 4th year and found out we're waiting on the 3rd to air. They're filming the 4th year, and now the 5th year will be 6 episodes, not 10, when they film. Strange New Worlds, nobody has seen, and it's been renewed for 2 years. And you would think they'd get a 3rd, unless it bombs. But everything I hear says it may be the best of all the new Treks. One person that works on the show since before Brian Fuller left on Discovery on the new shows said Academy is what Discovery always wanted to be and couldn't get there. So that's a high bar, I know. So what I want to see is, number one, let's do the quickie poll. How many in the room became a Trek fan? You got turned because of original series watching in the 60s on NBC. Oh, really? I've never heard that from you, Ed Libby. Okay, very good. So we got 2. How many just were rerun babies and animateds in the movies era? Okay, that's me too. Okay, that's half the room. That's typical. How many Next Generation original run? Like one of these, like not 2 or 3, but 1. Okay. How many became a fan? DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. The Kelvin movies. Discovery. There's so many damn ones now. Picard. Pick a season. They're all 3. It's 3 different shows.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Strange New. Lower Decks. There are people I know that say Lower Decks is their favorite of the new series, and a couple of people say it's their favorite all time, only because they feel like it reps everything, and so they. Prodigy, which is not just for kids, please do, and Strange New, which I think I did say. Okay. And how many became fans because of Section 31? Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you for inclusivity there, Chris. Got to rep them all. Okay. So my thing is, I'm curious to see. So what's anybody? So the state of Trek, it feels like it's been a roller coaster since Discovery came. It's only been 8 years ago. And I feel like the pendulum swung like 3.5 times or 47 times or whatever. But anybody have an opinion about here's the thing. And I was kidding about it. In 2017, you had a slice of people. There was a lot of negativity or just people upset. And part of that was people were pissed about Discovery for wrong reasons. They thought it was, women of color are leading the show. What's up with that? This is Star Trek. How can you be, crazy? Some people just didn't generally like the look. They thought it was violating canon visually or conceptually. And then you had a chunk of people that were just mad because they were having to pay for Star Trek, even though they always had to, but now it's up front. And then there were the people who were just confused and didn't know where to find Star Trek. Like, it was on CBS once and then it went away, and I guess we'll never see it now. I heard this elderly couple actually say that at a con once. And then somebody in the audience took them aside and said, I'll help you find it. And we've had so many twists and turns since then. Are people, who in the room is actually watching current Star Trek, not 31, but like you're planning to watch Strange New Worlds when it comes out? Okay. So by that, I take it that everybody is, at least by then, will be a Paramount Plus subscriber? Yeah? Okay. I'm going hazy here. So what are you thinking about? I've been talking about this the last few weeks, and so now we're getting into con season, and we'll see what happens as the world goes by. But this whole thing about I don't think we've ever been in a time when just what in the old days, you just write a nasty letter to NBC, you'd write a nasty letter to Paramount, or something, if you were upset or a nice letter, but here's what I want to have happen. And now it feels like you have to write the FCC or Trump's White House, because what you're going to see on Star Trek is determined by who's running it, Alex Kurtzman and his company, and that's determined on if his contract next year is renewed, and that's determined by who's running Paramount or what it looks like and what streaming looks like. And that's determined by, will the Ellison Skydance deal take over, be allowed to go through? And that's determined by, will the FCC allow it, or will they be hung up over the CBS News lawsuit that Trump has against CBS, which is meritless judicially, but in a practical way, they're holding it hostage at the FCC unless they do. And it just felt like never has I just want to know what's happening with Star Trek. It's like it goes all the way up to this. Is that on anybody's mind, or anybody have something to say, or is that news to you, or?
Some of that went beyond my awareness.
I just blew your mind?
Well, I was following you to a certain extent, but then you lost me. I got you past the contract renewal, and then after the contract renewal was what? Contract renewal.
So Sherry Goldsmith, yeah. Sherry Redstone, wrong color, long week. Sherry Redstone's family, her dad, has owned the holding company that held Paramount, especially after the divorce in 2007. When CBS went one way and Paramount went another, and you had the division in Star Trek world of movies and TV, which is artificial. Well, they finally remarried, and the last 5 years, all it's been has been who's running it now, what's the future going to be, how much debt is there, how many layoffs have there been to get the debt down, what's the future going to be, oh, there's a pandemic, oh, there's strikes, everything is in flux. Modern Star Trek under Alex Kurtzman got launched right before all that chaos happened, and he had a contract, and he's run the franchise, and streaming was, we got to keep their eyeballs every month, put out new Trek every week.
Yeah,
right. Okay. So now all those pendulums have swung, and will his contract be renewed? Well, who's going to be the big boss that decides that? We're waiting for Ellison to either.
That's where you lost.
Yeah, either that's going to happen or not. And if part of the impetus here is that Sherry and their family, National Amusements Holding Company, is losing money the longer the deal doesn't. Like, they owe so many hundreds of millions, but they will make singles of billions they will pay off their debt once the sale goes through. It's a leverage thing. And they're she didn't want to self-rage. She wanted the family legacy to keep going. Well, now it's like, screw that. I'm 80. Just pay off our family debt, and we'll stay billionaires because there's so many of them now in the country, And I'm not being sarcastic. That will all happen, and they think they got the best deal. And actually, for Star Trek, Ellison is supposed to be the best deal for Star Trek in the vast Paramount family of all those options that were floating around. If another, hi everybody, I'm talking way too loud. This is going to be excellent video. The point was, of all those other options, like if Sony had bought Paramount, they would have sold. They wouldn't. If another brand had bought Paramount, they wouldn't have cared about the Paramount brand. No one would have cared. They would have cared about the assets like Star Trek and Transformers and Mission Impossible and all that stuff. They wouldn't have cared about the lot. The lot would have been sold off. It probably would have been condos or apartments unless some historical thing had gotten a hold of it and said, no, you can't do that. The lot would have been gone. All the Paramount branding, nobody would care. Would they keep the shingles in front of movies? Maybe. I mean, Paramount's movie catalog already got sold off in the 50s from like the Bob Hope and Bing Crosby road movies. The 40s and 50s Paramount movies are all owned by somebody else. Paramount doesn't even own their own stuff before the 60s. So that happens. So the best deal for everything, for keeping it as a unit, Ellison co-produced JJ movies. They thought, supposedly the idea is that they would be the friendliest to try. Is somebody going to decide that streaming is a dead end now and that the Paramount Plus streaming goes away? Would new Star Trek be back under? Linear TV is dying. That's the other thing. Linear TV is dying. Streaming is the emperor with no clothes. No one knows how the hell to have a model anymore almost. But somebody's going to have to ride those waves as it gets figured out. And who's that going to be? So all of that is, they just want this to happen. And it's not going to happen. We had the drama of the sale and the guy that came in at the last minute 6 months ago and then got pushed aside and tried to sue them for getting pushed aside at the last minute. And so all that's happened. They're just needing FCC approval because it's a major merger. And there shouldn't be anything wrong with it, except that they are appointing, the FCC has now got more Republicans and the chairman is now a Trump appointee. And I'm just being politically neutral here. And they're waiting to see how the CBS News lawsuit comes out and then either approve it or not approve it. So that's what all that chain of events is. And it's just weird that we're just trying to have Star Trek and it's such a political domino chain. Yeah. So anyway, so now you know.
Yes, thank you.
The more you know. Yeah, yeah. So that was kind of a mega view, but let me take it to the other end. Is everybody excited for Strange? What's everybody's opinion of the current Treks? Are we excited for Strange New Worlds? Is it the best thing since sliced bread? And yeah, okay.
It has the best feel. It has the closest feel of classic Trek to me, at least.
And it's a great jumping on point for new fans.
Yeah. Best feel, a good jumping on point for new fans. Okay, left side. Anything? Okay, Ghostbuster. Anything? Come on, Michael.
Strange New is one of my favorites.
What
Strange
is?
New is one of my favorites. I'm still disappointed that Lower Decks ended the way it did. What really breaks my heart is the fact that we're only getting 6 episodes for the final season. It's already a factor of, we're announcing a final season, but we're dropping it from 10 to 6.
Yeah.
That really bummed me out when I read that.
No, we're celebrating the 5th season as the final year. No, there's no raspberries here. Get that victory lap ready before we run around the Coliseum and then we kill you with the lion.
Pike has the best hair.
What?
The Pike has the best hair.
Pike has the best hair.
It's not a terrible thing to think that Lower Decks is the best Trek since like the first 2 seasons of DS9, right?
You can say anything you want, Cody. Wait, let me check again. Yes, we are still a free country. Check that. Well, there was Tony did a story on Trek Movie Today that I actually checked as of 30 minutes ago, saying that the tea leaves were pointing to that all the political mess was going to get resolved and the FCC would come down and whatever. Did you hear this? This is where the political got crazy. So there are many people, journalists and politicians and legal scholars who don't want them to see, they want to just settle the lawsuit so that the FCC will approve the sale and life will move on. But there are a lot of people that say, this is not just your little law baby to play with. If you settle, this will be some historical legal precedents, both in general law and in journalism, that Trump's saying, it was all about the Kamala interview for 60 Minutes, and it was edited intentionally to make her look better than she was, when they did nothing but edit it the way they would always edit anything. Like they showed, here's the raw footage, here's the edits, here's what we did. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we do with everything. I mean, that's what it came down to. And a lot of people very disturbed that if that, even if it's not a judgment, it's a settlement, that that would be a bad repercussion for future lawsuits about journalism and libel and process, and you, not libel, but you wronged me by doing this. Even you wronged me by doing this to the person I'm running against. Just these general things. Even to, and people saying, well, if you settle your lawsuit to get your FTC approval, that's basically a quid pro quo. It's like bribery, and you can't do it, and you could be sued for that. So Sherry Redstone has even not been threatened, but people have written, several senators have written a letter saying, if you settle your lawsuit to get the FCC approval, that's like bribery, and you might be liable to lawsuits over settling the other. So, but I'm sure they're thinking, well, that's what's as if, So that's even a thing. But I didn't get to read the background stuff, but something has happened in the last 24 hours where somebody else is reading tea. No, Tony's not saying this at Trek Movie. He's quoting other people who are reading tea leaves and saying, it looks like that's the way it's going to happen, and it would come down. So how many people, your eyes glazed over the minute we left Star Trek and Paramount to talk about politics? Like, no, I'm in Star Trek to get away from politics. Hardcore politics. But that's where we are. Yeah, we were talking about Strange New. What are you? Here's a question. This is always good. Would you rather? How have you thought about the arc? People have their opinions about Discovery, legit opinions. Why did they ignore visual canon, but were so slavish about concept canon? And then Picard, we loved season 3. Why didn't they do that at the beginning? Da-da-da-da. And then Lower Decks and Prodigy and Strange New. We're praising Strange New. So that's Alex's run. And there is a lot of the chunk of the world that just lumps everything in his Kurtzman Trek, and I won't watch it, and I haven't watched anything since 2005, and blah, blah, blah. And people like me go, well, these are all different flavors and different people running shows, and they've all come out vastly different, and I don't know how you can lump everything together anyway. So his contract is up at the end of next year. Should it be renewed? Or should they bring somebody else in who we don't know? There's not like there's somebody floating out there that would be like the alternative. It's like, will they bring somebody else in? Will they be better? Will they be experienced? Will they be, yep. Or will they not do anything? And the new powers, if Ellison and Skydance come in, they might say, you know what, streaming is a loser right now. Let's just focus on movies and not do TV, and we won't have a showrunner for. There's that. Go ahead, Chris.
No, they could. I don't know if they'll come back, but if they were to throw it under Terry Matalas, let him be the showrunner for a while, it might be. I thought he did a great job with season 3 of Picard personally. He's also a Star Trek fan, and so I'd love for him to do that.
You and whose army? Yes, that one. I have an army to join you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a similar problem going on right now in Doctor Who fandom because streaming rights, the deal with Disney seems to have collapsed. A lot of people are pointing blame at Russell T Davies and the last 2 seasons and Shuey's casting and a lot of the wokeness, again, a lot of the same talking points you were there before. And there's a big question, the big cloud question right now over that. But there are people already pitching their hats in for Doctor Who fandom, one of them being J. Michael Straczynski, theoretically, out there, over there. You say there's nobody out there.
No, I'm asking the question. I haven't seen any named out there.
I have not either.
Yeah.
I feel that Kurtzman has had more hit than miss with what he's done. I'm doing a Discovery rewatch right now because I haven't watched this since it first came out. And I'm not a fan. I was not a fan of what it ended up being. I will say that it started well, but
No, we're talking about what here? You're talking about what exactly?
Discovery,
okay.
just Discovery itself.
You liked it at the beginning and not where it ended?
I like where I did. I liked the first. I was okay to a great extent with the first season, and I really liked the second. And then third is what I thought Andromeda should have been. And then fourth and fifth just lost me so much. It just went so downhill. But that's the one iffy to me. Everything else has been okay, really above average, if not way above average. And so I feel that Kurtzman's run here has been a great success.
And well, it's interesting. I so wish I could time machine 20 years to see what the judgment is on Discovery, because Discovery to me is like, yes, it's the oldest of the family of the kids, but it's when the parents were the most troubled. It's like everything calmed down for the latter ones.
I'm kind of the opposite of him because I watched the first 2 seasons and I enjoyed it. I thought, I'm a Klingon fan. I'm used to them changing Klingons. But I thought they went too far.
Yeah.
And the Klingons just lost me. I couldn't get into them like I have with the other series. And I love
You have followed Klingons for a while, Libby? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, I was first fan. Oh, he knows. That's why he's
Okay.
laughing at me. And then I discovered Quark and Mom.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm short, so it worked. But I really loved it by the end. But I do think it ended when it needed to end.
Yeah.
As for the future, I'll give anything a chance. I mean, I can remember when they announced Next Generation, I was in a fan club and the older fans were just throwing a fit. They were never going to watch Next Generation because it wasn't Captain Kirk and it wasn't Mr. Spock.
Remember those two?
And they said the same thing about.
And you're trying to erase them.
Yeah.
You're trying to wipe them away.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Deep Space Nine because Star Trek is about spaceships. And you know how I love Deep Space Nine. I give everything.
It's the show that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Boldly stay put.
I mean, most of my childhood, you had the original series running over and over. I could identify every episode by the first few seconds. I can't do that now, but that's all we had. So I will give anything a chance, no matter which way they go.
The question, part of this is because we've had the joke, and anybody that follows, it's out there, and anybody that follows me. Do you guys want to say somebody want to jump in with something real fast? Am I
I'd say
intimidating anybody?
Terry Metalis, he's great at running like a show. I don't think I'd want to see him trying to run all of Star Trek because I think he would get spread too thin and you would not get the epic level you can get from a series that he could really do hands on.
You're thinking his first best destiny is as a captain,
Yes.
not being kicked upstairs to being an admiral.
Yes.
To pull a metaphor out of nowhere. Okay. Yeah. Somebody started to say something else.
I just said, if you make legacy, probably all be happy.
Oh, that would be too simple. There's times when I wonder, because Picard was made in LA at Sir Patrick's insistence, right? And everything else has been Toronto. And when people were griping about paying for streaming, I was saying, forget that. They said, God meant for Star Trek to be free. And I'm like, forget that. God meant for Star Trek to be made in LA. Gene and the California thing and the Golden and all that and stuff. And now we can't keep tabs on it because it's up in Toronto and everything. But it's also like 4 times more expensive to make it now. The same 10-show season on streaming, Dave Blast told me, cost 4 to 5 times more in LA than in Toronto. Everything considered, which is part of another bigger picture.
But hasn't that often been the case? I mean, for such a long time in the 90s, Vancouver, people went and filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah, it was really, really cheap.
was really cheap.
Yeah. But it was also the new wave radical thing to do. Like when X-Files went up there, I remember that was and some people would say, well, they've shot the hell out of everything in LA. At least it's some new buildings and, they can pass for different cities, but at least it's not the same old again. And, yeah. So my question is, My question is, this whole gambit of trying to read tea leaves of he has a contract that's up. Everything is suspended. We haven't, a lot of people would say no big loss, but we've had, what is it? Oh, it's 15 till. We've had, the movies have been a joke, right? I mean, this idea that they're going to do whatever it is, and not just another Kelvin movie with Chris Pine, et cetera, but like this Origins movie that was going to be kind of, what's the other franchise where they went so far back? What was the Babylon early? Caprica? Where they went so far back. Yeah, or maybe Andor now. The Origin Star Trek movie was going to be soon after First Contact, but way before Archer's time. And it was going to be Earth-based. And it was going to be like them reacting to the first idea of aliens and stuff. And, oh, it's another panel. But the point is, they had 2 movies they were talking about. And one of them, the Origins movie, was on the board to go into prep this year. And then it's been crickets. And it wasn't announced at the last, here's what's coming up on our slate, whatever, conference. And it's because everything is frozen, waiting to see who's going to be in charge and run the movie. Much less, like Alex's contract is about running TV. But even on the movie side, that's being hung up. And I know a lot of people go, oh, well, who cares about the movies right now? But they do need to have something happening. Star Trek and Paramount needs to have Star Trek movies, and Paramount needs movies, period. And Star Trek is there as good a bet as any, from just the purely that side. And that's all kind of in limbo until they know who's going to be running, who's going to make, because the worst thing is you don't want to ever have a project that is okayed by people, and then those people are out at the top of the Star Trek 6 was almost not made. Nick Meyer's book is amazing on this. It was almost not made because the heads of Paramount changed twice while they were in development for it. And the first time, and they almost didn't do it because they were screaming about $5 million in their 30 or 40 or 50 million, whatever that size budget was. He was saying, no, we can't go cheap. And they weren't going to do it for like 2 weeks. And then they cut off the head. Then there was the French Revolution, Russian Revolution. New people came in and it was like, of course we're not going to go out on 5. We're going to do one more with Shatner and Nimoy and those guys before they retire. Of course we're going to do one more. Like here, you're yelling about 5 million here. So it's all in, it's all like who's making the decisions. And so that's got everything, the TV side and his contract and what's going to happen with the movies and what's going to happen to streaming and how they're going to divide up the company and what's going to go away. It's all, why are the toys non-existent? I mean, how do we promote it? How do we not promote stuff? Everything up and down the line is holding up over that. So anyway, my technical time to end up is right now. So this has been kind of an experiment, everybody. I hadn't even looked to see I know 2 of you are here in the room. Let me look at the chat real fast before I end this, just to see if anybody. Hi, everybody. I told you I wasn't going to ignore you. Joel's in Minnesota. Check. Was Brian sitting down here, was it? Huh? Yeah, he left. I was like, this lights in my eyes, and I was like, is that? I'm trying to see who's actually on the. Hi, Bob D. Howdy. You're sometime lurker, not always on Tuesdays. Okay, you and Joel can have a conversation. Oh, wow. Hey, Timothy. Yes, I tried to warn everybody. Hi, Ian. I haven't seen. Yes, Chris, you hadn't planned on it, but what is that? Yeah, Tim, good question. Where is Samuel T. Cogley? Books, my boy, books. Everybody, it's good to see the chat, guys. I didn't, the U.S. wanted Star Wars. Actually, Star Wars predated Reagan and Star Wars. Star Trek predated Reagan and Star Wars. Oh, Timothy. What is Star Trek then? I don't know. Do you? Do you? Bruce Maddox, a.k.a. Brian Brophy from the Brophy Brigade. That's funny. The Measure of the Man. Joel says, I'm excited for the murder mystery show and the USS Callister looking episodes of Strange New Worlds. That's right. The trailer's been out, right? People are generally excited. I still don't like what they've done visually, but it's better than what it was. I'm tired of praising things by saying, well, it's better than it was. Trelane Q or whatever that guy's going to be. Yes. Oh, Timothy, the ultimate measure of Star Trek is not where the franchise stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where the show stands at times of challenge and controversy. You worked on that for like a day, right, Tim? That was great. That was good. Yeah, Wanda, I am sad that Trek is caught in the political football, but aren't we all? Right now, sadly. Who else is here? Yes, Wanda, Chris is here. Chris, you had a shout out. Yes, we're at SoonerCon. Timothy, I'm happy to run Star Trek when Kurtzman's contract runs out. Okay, Jim Stoffel, you loved season 1 of Picard and 3. Season 2 was all over the place and failed. Yeah, there were some moments of season 2 that were okay, but it was, yeah. That's the one that was most affected by COVID shooting too. Oh, that's right. The con audio thing has just totally dropping off the radar, and it's also not Nick Myers anymore to do. It's been handed to other people. Tim says, it's like Kurtzman has no creative control of the show and is just letting anything pass at the moment of Star Trek while keeping low key. Well, now that's the people who are in place are still going. It's just like what's going to happen on the future. Christian, you're very welcome for whatever. Thanks back at you for being here. Well, you're welcome, Jim. It's a great surprise, not a complete blow up. Okay, good. Yay. Samantha, hi. I forget where you're coming in from. And Libby is live tweeting from the audience. Okay. You're live. No, that's on me. You wouldn't live tweet a thing that's being live streamed, would you? Okay. Hey, everybody, listen, I think that's good. Our panel time is about up here. So thanks much. Samantha, I'm glad you jumped in here on a Friday. Thanks, everybody here in the room. We're going to call it there. I'm going to thank all, I didn't bring my cards, but I'm going to thank all of our Patreon folks, our Livewires and TTLers. Thanks so much for doing that. It's a Friday, but hey, the awesome Ben Robinson from All the Toy Hero and all the little ships over the years that's been resurrected. Ben was my guest on Trekland, on the Trek Files this week, talking about the origins of capital S, little s Savick in early drafts of what became the Wrath of Khan. We dug those out of the Trek Files and had a great conversation about a corner I hadn't gotten into until he poked me, and we went there. So make sure and check out the Trek Files this week. Otherwise, SoonerCon is here. I probably will try to live stream at least something, not a panel, but we'll just do some live things. Everybody check that out. I should say that we got 3 more Cadet Alice's taped while she was staying with us before we came to Norman. So we're going to get season 2 of Prodigy with Cadet Alice and Dr. Trek. It's going to be up soon now that we've got 6 in the can. And what else do we usually talk about? Anyway, everybody, get me Larry Nemechek at Twitter X and Blue Sky now, and everything Trekland, Instagram and YouTube, and do all the things. Hit the bell, ring the circle, do whatever you're doing. The Patreon folks, thank you so much. It's patreon.com/Trekland Live. It helps out a little bit here. Appreciate that. We'll get the cards up and thank everybody by name in a little bit. But that's it. Thanks everybody here in the room for coming to this kind of experiment that I didn't know how it would go. I've got the rest of the weekend, by the way. Today, I think the opening or whatever is passing for the opening, I'll be at this. I don't know if anybody's a VIP, but I'll be there. So my Tupperware party, what we always call the Trekland Tupperware party, is at 7. If anybody here wants to hear more about the pods, but also Portal 47 and the Treks and what's going on, and maybe do a little trivia, a little door prize, have some fun that way. That's at 7 in the JQH boardroom over behind the registration in the bar in the hotel. And SoonerCon, has anybody been to SoonerCon at midnight before? It's the thing I host every year. It's a lot of fun. It gets wacky. It's late. It's a little earlier this year. It's at 9, not 10. But we have a panel of distinguished people who are guests here in the big paragraph, and it's the worst book ever gets built, and the audience votes and decides the pieces. So everybody come if you can. That's a lot. That's a hoot. And it gets crazier and crazier as we go along. And then tomorrow I'm hosting Garrett. Tomorrow, seriously, in this room again. So a thing I've done for 10 years, I call it State of the Trek. It's a fan forum. It's kind of like this, only I won't be dealing with a live stream. And I'll throw out a bunch of topics, and hopefully we'll have more fans here, and we'll get some cross-talk kind of going like what we did here. Just what's going on in the world. And we can talk about the shows themselves and the bigger, the meta picture and all that too. But that's at 5 tomorrow, and then 6 o'clock our Portales meet. And tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, I haven't done this in several years, but I'm having a crowdfunder party for $20 to help out with the Con of Wrath. But we have trivia, and I've got some rare videos, and it's like a little hour-and-a-half show, basically. I'm just giving you a bunch of stuff, some stuff you've probably never seen that's fun, and some trivia, and some little prizes, and some clips from the Con of Wrath, Hart Bennett, who's passed, and Nichelle, who's passed, and a little bit from George that was filmed for the Con of Wrath too, my documentary. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, come by the table and we'll see you. So everybody, thank you for your patience today and being here. Hope maybe you learned something, or maybe you laughed, maybe you wanted to scream internally. But thanks everybody, and we will see you the rest of the week, and have a great day, great weekend. Yay. Okay, and we will see you all, guys, until not Tuesday, but a week from Tuesday, June 30th. I'll be back on regular Tuesdays. And as always, everybody, stay healthy, do all the things. Stay woke, check your sources, and trek well, everybody. Yay. July 1st, not June 30th. No, June 30th that's a Monday. July 1st. July 1st. And July 30th, we will be the return of Trekophiles Tonight, spelled with an F, our meetup on Discord with Mission Log for all the Trekophiles fans for the Trek Files on June 30th. June 30th, Trekophiles Tonight, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 Central, name your time zone, will be the and that is, apart from my Patreon, that's $1 a month Patreon minimum only for Roddenberry. Mission Log, you get to join, you access all of their podcast groups and fan bases, and a lot of them that aren't connected. There's a lot of fun. A lot of fans are running Discord shows on Discord under the Mission Log umbrella. There's a lot of wacky stuff happening over there, but Trek Files family finally has a place to gather. Every other Monday at 4 p.m., we will restart on Monday, June 30th. And we will restart Trekland Tuesdays Live on Tuesday, July 1st. Trek well, everybody.